Now, Barry, you know Kevin, you know everybody. Do you think Kevin should bury the hatchet with his brother Neal? He hasn't spoken to him over 5 years. Should he reach out?
Well, I mean, the thing about, I hope he allows me to answer this question. The thing about our business is
God.
that, see, he's going to interrupt me again, is we have these relationships with people that aren't family, and if they piss us off or they do things that don't make us happy, we can just stop talking to them, and it's okay because there's a whole world of other people. But when it comes to family, it's this weird thing, like family can piss each other off so much, and you're expected to still come back and be close to them. You know, if you were to put Neal in a soundproof booth and you were to ask him why they don't speak, and you were to record it, and you were to put Kevin in the soundproof booth and ask why they don't speak and the reason why, you'd have two different answers of why each one doesn't speak to the other and the reasons why they don't speak to each other. And for the comedy audience, it's easy to look at their situation and say, oh, well, the reason why Kevin, no matter what Kevin says, the reason why they don't speak is because Neal's doing this, and this after I did it. And he's, you know, having this level of success and he's doing these things. And, you know, it'd be nice if he cast me in a commercial. Be nice if he asked me to do something in a movie. Be nice if he hired me to write on something. Be nice if he, whatever. That's what the audience thinks when they look at it, but it might be something else. Neal, to me, is, I have a very, very unique perspective of Neal, but keep in mind, as the audience, Neal was the first person at the comedy. He was the doorman at the comedy club.
You called him No Show Neal.
We called him No Show Neal because we didn't have a lot of shows, but the comedians loved him, and they had this camaraderie with his darkness and his interesting take on things, and they really embraced him. And it
Plus, he was the mascot of the club because he was young and he was my brother, so he was kind of like the mascot of the club.
Obviously, you know, there's a lot of roasting going on in the club. A lot of people shit on each other, including people shitting on me left and right. But the bottom line is that Neal figured it out. You know, Neal figured out how to create relationship capital. And one of the things that Kevin might argue is that, Kevin, you haven't figured out how to create relationship capital. Relationships where you can, it works symbiotically with the both of you to elevate your and their career. Neal figured out when Dave Chappelle was younger, he saw somebody that was doing great things, but he made Dave feel safe. Even as a young person, even though he wasn't at Dave's level, he made him feel safe. And I was in that room when they pitched Half Baked. I'm one of the only people in that room that was there when they sold that show. I was there with the president of Universal and one agent. I saw how it happened. I saw the way they pitched it. I saw their camaraderie. And at a young age, Neal figured out that relationship capital and then delivered for Dave in what Dave needed. Dave needed the structure, and Neal gave Dave the performance range and the pitch. And then once one thing snowballs, then the next thing happens, and then suddenly you get representation. But then Neal had a long period of time where I think he would agree that things weren't necessarily going the way he wanted them to go. And that's also the sign of an extraordinary person who sees what's not working and makes the adjustments and changes things, and then figures out, okay, they think I'm weird, they think I'm awkward. People don't like being around awkward or weird. Okay, so let me figure out how to change that about myself. Okay, people, when I'm on a set, they need to know, they need to feel safe. If I'm the way I was before, they're not going to feel safe. I have to do this. And so he's had certain ebbs in his career, and that's the sign of a great artist when you're not doing as well as you want to be doing, to reinvent and figure out how to recalibrate. And one of the things about you, Kevin, is that you refuse to recalibrate. You refuse to make adjustments with your talent and how great you are as an artist, and you just go the same lane all the time. You're driving at 65 miles an hour. And whereas your brother, he takes detours, he tries different roads, he tries different avenues, he studies things. As he said many times, I'm sure in interviews, he wanted to be director. What did he do? He watched every Academy Award winning film to understand what was happening. So your argument together as a family, would the argument be the way it is if you were an accountant and he was a lawyer? Would you guys still not be talking for 5 years? If I'm a betting man, I'm going to say the answer is no, you would be talking.
Okay, can I say one thing?
That's a way of creating conflict between. The last thing I want to say is this: is that you talk to Tony Rock about his brother Chris Rock, and you know that he still has moments where he's like, "What the fuck?" I mean, I thought I was going to be in this movie. He said I was in the movie, and then 8 weeks later, I got a call. The cast party's happening. You know, so shit happens in the business that creates tension that wouldn't happen if you weren't in the business. But you tell me your story.
Okay. Barry, you're a national treasure.
The fans are going to love that. They're going to love it.
That's the new name for this episode, National Treasure. Barry, that was the most beautiful. You should be selling shows to the Hallmark Channel. Here's what happened, Barry.
No, this is what happened to you. Here's your story, Kevin.
Here's what happened. I like how he says he has ebb and flows. Okay, Neal. I had boots. I was boots on the ground when Chappelle got into town. Neal and Chappelle were the same age. Neal befriended Dave because Dave was 18. There weren't a lot of comics that were 18. Neal was 18. Neal dropped out of college, NYU, so he had a lot of free time. Dave had a lot of free time. All the other younger comics, were threatened by Dave Chappelle. Neal wasn't threatened because he wasn't a comic. He was a fucking doorman. So then, they built up relationship capital. I'm not gonna lie. They sold Half Baked. They did Half Baked. Then Neal's career went into a bit of a ebb, as you like to call it. And then Dave called Neal, because I was literally there. Dave called Neal and said, "Neal, I want to pitch a show called The Chappelle Show to Comedy Central." And that's what got Neal's show out of one of his dips, is Dave Chappelle's phone call. And this whole thing of like Neal's just waiting for Chappelle to call. Always. He did Half Baked. Dave wasn't happy with the results of Half Baked. And then 6 years later or whatever, he's like, "All right, I'm not mad anymore. Let's do the Chappelle Show." That was a hit, obviously. And now Neal wants to be a movie director, but he's directing fucking commercials. So the point is that, like, Dave Chappelle is so talented that he can make Neal an entity. That's how good Dave Chappelle is. I'm not saying, I'm just telling the reality. Like, I actually almost called Neal. No, let me finish. I'm almost done. I almost texted Neal yesterday when Norm died, because I know Neal was a Norm fan. I'm a big Norm fan. I was sad. I'm like, let me reach out to Neal. I didn't. I took the high road. I didn't. And but before I forget, Adam, I have tickets to Neal's show for tomorrow. So nobody will go. So if you want to take your fiance or whatever the fuck she is, I don't know if she's right there. But you have ticket. You have my permission. I didn't buy them. Somebody gifted them to me. I can't go. Blah blah blah. But Barry, I'm not besmirching Neal. This whole thing of like Neal is a self-made man. Neal was at the right place at the right time. Dave Chappelle. No, let me finish. Dave Chappelle trusted Neal because Neal had credibility because he was my brother. He had credibility. He wasn't just, there was other doormen that worked there, and Neal is good. Neal has more people skills than I do, but also Neal's youngest of 10. So he knows how to navigate. When you're the youngest of 10, you learn how to navigate different personalities. Neal's good at that. He befriended Dave Chappelle at a good time because Dave Chappelle basically closed off this. After a while, Dave Chappelle closed off to his camp to any new people. I mean, he still basically has the same people that, the guy who I forget the guy who's been booking him for years, the guy from San Francisco. So Neal was at the right place at the right time. Jeff Wills, Neal was at the right place at the right time. I
booked Dave with Jeff Wills when he was 18 at the Punchline in San Francisco. Relationship capital.
And he still works with him, right?
Relationship capital.
Yeah. So, but I'm saying, yeah, he got to Chappelle while Chappelle was still young and still trusting.
Wills wasn't 17 or 18 when he booked them, and that's the reason why they had a connection.
What's that?
Jeff Wills wasn't 18 when he met Dave at the Punchline in San Francisco when he booked them, and they had a connection. So your idea that age has anything to do with a connection.
I'm just saying, Dave Chappelle had no friends in New York, and so Neal was one of his friends, and because they were the same age, they didn't have the same interests. But like I remember, like Reggie McFadden, none of these guys wanted to be friends with Chappelle because they were threatened by him. Chappelle was great when he got here, so Chappelle was looking for friends, and Neal had a lot of free time. It just worked out, but Neal doesn't have this magic fucking wand. Like other than the Chappelle stuff, nothing's working.
You have the floor, Barry. You have the floor, Barry.
Go ahead, caller.
Did Neal need Chappelle to do 3 mics?
3 mics is just another stand-up special. It's mostly lies. I mean,
how many another stand-up specials do you have?
I have an HBO half hour. I have a Comedy Central special.
How many another hour specials do you have?
I don't know what the question. What's the question?
You have 0 hour specials. So don't call your brother's special another stand-up special because it wasn't another stand-up special.
But it is
uniquely original. It was a tremendous piece of art that I have never seen anybody do a special that way before. I'm not saying that every frame of it was flawless, and neither would he, but he did something that was unique and special. And that's why it sold, and that's why he got the hour. So don't.
A lot of people get an hour. He was just it's.
Kevin Brennan doesn't get an hour.
Yeah, because I'm too old. They're not. Let me know the next time somebody my age gets an hour.
Nobody got an hour in the first 5 years of your career, the second 5 years, the third 5 years, the fourth 5 years, the fifth 5 years at that age.
They didn't do hours. Who got an hour when I was in my prime doing stand-up? George Carlin. The only people that were doing hours was HBO. Nobody else did an hour, Barry, when I was in my prime. Who got an hour?
Louis Black didn't get an hour because he's too old.
Louis Black got an hour from Daily Show. He wouldn't have got shit without the Daily Show. Nobody got an hour when HBO and Comedy Central. Everybody got half hours. The hour thing is a new development. Thanks to Netflix. It means nothing. Chad just got an hour.
Kevin, you have a great case that you make for yourself of why things are the way they are. And
you don't even know how things are going.
For you? Things
are going great for me.
So why are you angry?
Because people love it. I'm going to get a fucking hour, Barry. You just dared me. You challenged me, and a challenge accepted.
You deserve an hour.
I'm great. I have no doubt. I have no more doubt. Yeah, an hour. Yeah, Tom Segura has 4 hours. He's a garbage comic. He's a road middle. He's a road middle, and he gets a new hour every fucking year. He's George Carlin. The only people that used to get an hour every year was George fucking Carlin. Now Tom Segura and Fat Bert Kreischer get a new hour every year. They're George Carlin. That's how much value hours have. Garbage. Cut him off.
So to answer my question, should he reach out to Neal and apologize?
Yeah, I'm glad you're not bitter.
I'm not bitter. These are facts.
No, they're your facts.
No, my facts. These are facts. What has Neal done? Neal's been in the business for 30 years. Other than Chappelle, he did 3 mics, which is just made up shit. Jeff Martyr used to use 2 mics. So he added a mic and he made up shit about my dad. Like that's amazing. That's like Apocalypse Now. It's amazing. It's a spectacle.
Sorry to bring you into this, Barry. I didn't mean to.
Oh, this is fantastic. I love it. So Kevin, you said you took the high road by not calling him after Norm Macdonald passed.
That was a joke. It was an attempt at comedy. It was a joke.
You think that when somebody passes away where you have common ground, you can put your differences aside and just leave a message and say, even if it's a voice message without you having to call him and just saying, hey, I just want to let you know that it's a tough day, and you don't think you could leave that message?
I almost did. I still might.
You didn't.
But it's not over. My life's not over. I could do it today and say I meant to do it yesterday.
Neal, I'm sorry, Kevin, what's your part in things? Do you have a part in anything, like when you look at the part of why things go successfully and why they don't go successfully? What's your part? Do you ever look in the mirror and say,
Harry, you just told me not to have doubt. You just told me at the beginning of the show not to have doubt. Now you're telling me to have a lot of doubt?
Did I say that?
You're saying look back at what I did and take responsibility. That creates doubt when you go, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. You want to replay the audio? I never said that.
All I know is, Barry, I'm having fun now. I used to not have fun in show business because guys like you used to tell me that used to always say you got to be more personable and you got to be more like Tom Papa. I'm like, fuck that now. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. And I'm having the fucking time of my life. And you say I don't have relationship capital? That fucking guy in the upper left-hand corner has been my producer since 2016. That's relationship motherfucking capital. Adam, the guy who I don't let talk, he's been my producer for 5 years. Relationship capital.
Kev, you okay? You want some tea?
Sit down. Just shut up. I'll talk.